Welcome to the Southern League YouTube channel, and joining me today for a special chat is, well, for me, he knows how much I think of him, living legend, good friend, and an all-round one of the nicest guys you're ever likely to meet in non-league football, and so proud to say that he's now the chairman of the Southern League, and a massive congratulations to you, Anthony.
Yeah, listen, thank you. Yeah, I can't deny I am really pleased. I'm excited, and it fulfills a dream for me probably. So I've been watching the Southern League since as long as I can remember. So it is an absolute dream to me, and yeah, I can't wait. Really, I can't wait to get really started and into it and see how it goes. And you know, all I want to do really is try and put the clubs in first place, and do the best for them. Because ultimately, you know, we just want to provide a mechanism for them to go hopefully up, but sometimes down the National League system. And we want to make it as smooth as possible.
And from what I was told, I missed it myself, and I was absolutely gutted to miss it, I must admit. But you got a fantastic response as well from everybody at the AGM.
Oh yeah, no, well. People are really kind. Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I had a lovely round of applause, and which I really did appreciate. It's all about the clubs for me, and if the clubs are happy, then I'm deliriously happy. So yeah, it was lovely actually. The weekend was lovely all told, and the AGM went extremely well, and the clubs were very receptive, and I received loads of nice comments, which is lovely. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
And I think for me as well, you know, the actual, you know, presentations and stuff, you know, on last Saturday, it did feel like, I think I've said to you on numerous occasions, it felt like a real family party.
It was a lovely evening. Yeah, it was. I think what was great was that the entertainer we had sort of got people into the swing of things, but the presentations, largely down to yourself and a few others, went like clockwork. And I think it's probably the quickest we've been in fact in doing the presentations, because there are quite a lot of presentations that have to take place. But yeah, it was a really great evening, and some of my family were there, as you know, and they thoroughly enjoyed it, you know, and we also had the pleasure of having one of the leading goal scorers on our table, Leighton Thomas, who'd been playing at Bolton. And he was like a breath of fresh air. He thoroughly enjoyed the experience. So it was a great night actually. And I have to be honest, Dave, and I know probably it's the first one you've been to. I've been going to them now since about 2002, 2001. And last Saturday felt like one of the old days where people were really enjoying themselves and making the effort. Now, whether that's down to the pandemic and the fact that we haven't had one for 3 years could well possibly be the reason. But there was this lovely feeling of getting back to normal, if you like. I don't know what normal is, but in terms of the pandemic, it was lovely, that feeling of sort of getting back to normal and being able to meet people and greet people again, and it makes all the difference. Yeah, it makes all the difference.
I mean, one of the things as well from the night, before we go on to the, you know, future, was I think one of the things that speeches are not necessarily something that people like to listen to and stuff, are they? You know, people sort of think, here we go. But I think Terry spoke extremely well, you know, and, you know, on the night. And but I thought as well, for me, the person that for me stole the show, you know, and it was definitely Lawrence Jones. I thought Lawrence was absolutely, his speech on the night was very much a powerful sort of speech about non-league football, and I thought he came across really, really well.
No, he did. He was excellent. It's in fairness to Lawrence did, as you know, the response to the guests. So he toasted the league at the end of his speech, and it probably impacted the amount of applause he would have had, because I think you're right, you're not on your own. I think everybody thought he'd spoke really, really well, that he got the tone absolutely correctly, and hopefully what it showed to the clubs was that there are people at the FA who regard the National League system and our level of football in the correct manner and with the importance it deserves. So yeah, that was something I think that those that were there from the clubs were glad to hear that the FA was very much on side and very much appreciative of the work that they'd put in through the pandemic, so that we came out of it in a situation where we'd lost as fewer clubs as possible, if you like. But yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, Terry spoke well. It was Terry's evening because Terry was leaving, so and that was important.
Mm.
But Lawrence was absolutely superb and did a great job for us. Yeah.
I think the other person that sort of I got on extremely well with as well was one of the sponsors who's on our table, and I'm sure is it AD? Was it AD?
Yes, Eddie
Yeah,
Barkis.
yeah, and him and his lady wife, and
Yeah.
absolutely superb, because I
Yes.
think it was a bit during the thing. I'm not even sure. I think it came across that I had to introduce James as well, and I got the bit from Keith. You've got to give it to. You've got to really go for it, and really sort of make you feel special. And all I kept thinking was back to an Only Fools and Horses episode where you've got the, I think it's called Stage Fright, and he goes, and he turns around and he says, all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada, and we were just sitting there laughing and joking about it. And of course, every time the singer got up to sing, Andy kept saying to me, he's going to sing Gwyn Gwyn Gwas in a minute and stuff like this, and it was just a really, really enjoyable. Such a lovely man. Him and his
AD's a great guy. AD's very much part of the league now. We've been working with AD for, oh God, it must be 10 or 15 years now, Dave, through the match balls, because he's a major provider for Mitre. He's got his own sportswear company business in Peterborough, but we work closely with AD and Mitre when they were producing our benchwear. So it's been a very close relationship with him and his company for many years, and AD's become friends. AD's friends of my family and friends of Jason's family at the league office, and many of the directors, including Terry. So yeah, AD's part of the furniture, and as you know, on the night, probably worked as hard as anybody else with the presentations and everything else. He fully integrates into what happens at the league now every year. So
he kept asking me, you ain't changed, have you? I haven't changed it.
He's a lovely guy. He's a lovely guy, and Joe is, and they're lovely people. Yeah.
So I mean, moving on to the future though, Anthony. I mean, with the league itself, and me personally, knowing the type of person that you are as well, over the last sort of year, 18 months, I can just see the league now sort of just going like this. I mean, what have you got special plans that or something, maybe anything you can talk to us about, and what you would like, where you'd like to see the league go?
Yeah, in fairness, as I mentioned last weekend, Terry has changed the perception between the clubs in the league. It was very much a case at one stage of them and us, and the league was a little bit dictatorial, and Terry wanted to change that, and I think he's made, hopefully, the officers and the office much more approachable, and we've sort of made more of an effort to listen to what the clubs are actually telling us. So I want to continue that massively. I want to, it's the league is the club's league. If they make a decision, we have to listen. And so it's really important that the officers are approachable, that clubs are able to get the information they want when they want it. So, yeah, I'm not going to come in and make wholesale changes straight away, obviously not. And we've had a day at the office this week where we've spoken about little things that I would like to change. And everybody's very much on board with that. So what I want is a situation where obviously the office is only open 9 to 5. That's fact of life, okay? And the staff in the office are great and amenable and will do everything they possibly can. But I want a situation where if clubs have a problem in the evening or on the weekend, that they have somebody who they can contact. So that will include probably myself and the vice chairman now, David Martin, who's taken over with me. So between Jason, David and myself, we came to an agreement where somebody will be available. We may not have to answer every email or question that comes through until the following morning, but there will be occasions when something's a little bit more urgent. And if clubs need an answer at that time, then one of us has to be there to give them what they want. So hopefully over the next week or so, the clubs will see a change in that direction. They'll receive information on the way that emails are handled into the office, telephone calls are handled into the office, if you like. And hopefully the times that we are accessible will increase. That's the first thing. Secondly is the social media and the video content. We want to grow that. That has grown immeasurably since Terry's come into as Terry as chairman, but I still think there's tons more that we can do, So we have to project the league in a lot of ways. The other thing is there are things that I would like to do personally. I mean, the one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to send the clubs a monthly newsletter to let them know. They get the minutes of our board meetings every month, but sometimes that can take some time to come through, and they need to know the gist of what's happening earlier on. So starting in the next week or so, I'll be sending a letter to the clubs round about a monthly basis, just giving them any information they need to know, anything that's happening, things that are coming in, and why they're coming in and why things are happening. And just to keep them informed, really, because there's an awful lot of things coming from the FA, Dave, that and I don't mean that in a negative way. There's a lot of things that's coming via the FA through the leagues, such as a non-league player contract, which will be implemented in full, not this season coming, but the season after. And that will have big implications for the clubs in terms of adhering to the law of the land, in terms of holiday pay, sick pay, and the way the contracts are structured. So we want to have all the information ready for the clubs early this season, so they know what's coming in the next 12 months. Clubs are relying on volunteers, and no question, these things that are coming out are probably going to be more onerous for those volunteers. So we have to give them as much support, to help and assistance as we can. So there's that. There's also this season a new registration system that's coming out, which is something we've called for a while, and it's called IFAS. And what it is, Dave, it's a registration system that encompasses the Premier League, the Football League, the National League, the Southern League, the Isthmian League, and the Northern Premier League. So that when players are registered, they're registered under one name and one account, so that we know if they've played in the system. At this moment in time, each league has their own registration system. So it's very easy to get duplicate registrations. We have a system of check-in with the Football Association, but to have a bespoke registration system will hopefully reduce the chances of a player being dual registered, not registered correctly, or playing inelligibly, if you like. So that's something that's really important. But inevitably, that will take a bedding down period, because we've now got, at our level, the 3 leagues with 84 clubs each, all those league secretaries learning a new system. All those club secretaries, learn the new system, but also the league secretaries or operations manager in our case, learning that system as well, because it's new for us. So we're going through those training sessions at the moment. So I think for me, it's important that the clubs get the support and assistance they need when they need it. That's the first thing for me. In terms of building on things after that, there are many things I'd like to do. There are things that I don't think we do enough of, like for managers and coaches, and for the youth system, and for women's football. There's an awful lot that we as a league could get involved in, and we haven't done so. And I'd love to develop those things as we're going forward. But I think the first thing I have to do is concentrate on the clubs we have and make the experience for them the best possible when it can be.
I mean, one of the things that, a couple of things that I suppose that I've heard this year that people have said to me, why did the Southern League not do that, or why did the Trident Leagues not do that? I suppose Southern League wise was one of the things they asked was, could we not make it a lot easier for fans and spectators to see the results, or the up-to-date results, etc., by using football web pages like the Isthmian League do? I'm not sure if the Northern League do as well.
Yes,
because they find our sort of fixture thing very, very confusing and very difficult to actually be able to maneuver around. Where the football web pages is almost like you flick it up, stick it on there, and bang, that's on there.
Well, yeah, I think it's a fair question, to be honest. people may or may not know that the Southern League over the last 3-4 years have created a bespoke match day system that the other leagues haven't got. So whereas we used to fill in team sheets manually with a pen, and then you meet in the referee's room and exchange them, what happens now is there's a bespoke app that club secretaries go into, and they input the team sheets. They then print it off, it goes into the referee's room. But throughout the game, then they upload the changes that's happening throughout the game. Now, the reality is, over the last 18 months, that system hasn't worked as it should. It's been, I would say, last season, it probably caused us more problems than anything else. And the one thing I was determined was that that's not happening again this season. So what we've done is this. We've actually met with the developers of the web system. I met with them a couple of weeks ago, and we've come to a hybrid solution, whereas, because to explain it properly, what the club secretary said to us is, look, this system is a nightmare. We can't get in. We've been thrown out. The scores are coming up incorrectly. Lots of problems. But they're also saying to us, but listen, please don't let us go back to the clerical team sheets. We want to still have the situation where everything is done online. So we've met with the developers and we've said to them, look, this can't happen anymore. So we've developed a system now that the clubs will only have to put the team sheets in and also put the scores in. Nothing else. All the other information that they were putting in, like substitutions, yellow cards, attendances, can all be sent into the league office afterwards. So what that hopefully will do is lessen the pressure on the system. In addition to that, we've created a new server that is purely for the club secretaries. So if you or I decided to go in and look at the results, we would be on a separate server to them. So again, we've tried to alleviate the traffic going through the same server. All attempts to try and make this much more seamless and more effective. And then when people want the scores, they're available. However, I have also, or Jason at the league office has on my behalf, got in touch with football web pages also. And we're having discussions with them as well as that to make sure that if this system isn't effective, that we have an effective system ready to go. And football web pages, in fairness to them, have that they grasp. So we're already in negotiations with them to see if we can get them on board. But what I would hope is that that experience this season is 1,000 times better than it was last season. Proof will be in the pudding, Dave, because ultimately, a match day system like that is very difficult to test until you start playing. It's very difficult to get the 4 divisions playing all together and going through that system and knowing that it works. But we're doing little tests, and so far it's looking good. But trust me, it won't be a case of we start it, and if it's not working, we finish with it at the end of the season. If it starts and it's not working, it'll be gone sooner rather than later, and we'll go down a different route even. And that is likely to be football web pages, in fairness, who have been very receptive to our approaches. So it has to get better.
But is there any other, is there any sort of, for yourselves though, with the clubs? I mean, it seems to be, you seem to have been, how can I put this? You seem to be warmly received as well as in coming in and everything else like that. But I mean, one of the other things as well, I think someone said was that, I think it was one of the clubs, local clubs, but they'd got an under 23s, but they had to sort of almost do away with under 23s because they were playing like in the Isthmian league, but because now they're in the Southern League, they can't then play in that Isthmian league as an under 23s.
Right.
So
right.
I
wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So is that something that because they were tried at leagues that could end up being a thing?
We have in the past, and we attempted initially to get a youth league going, and it proved difficult because of the distances. This is where I think the Isthmian are at a slight advantage to us. They can have quite a number of clubs in short distances. So when you play in a midweek competition or under 23s or a youth cup, the traveling distances is a lot less than it is at our level in the Southern League. and that has hindered us, and probably the Northern Premier League as well to a degree, because of the travelling times involved. So we have attempted to do that. What we did in the end, youth-wise, was we went down the route of an academy league, which is organised on our behalf, and that's still ongoing, and that's proved more successful. But in terms of creating other competitions, as I mentioned you before, such as reserve sides, such as under-23 sides, if you like, and ladies football, that is something that we really want to develop as a league. And I think we can learn a few lessons from the Isthmian League. As I say, they've got a few advantages to us because of the distances involved in travelling and the costs then that come with that. And that's where we've struggled in the past in our league, where because one division can cover sort of a quarter of the country, if you like. And that's proved extremely difficult in the past to get those things going. But nevertheless, as Trident leagues and our relationship with the other leagues are getting closer and closer and closer, there may be something we can do as a collective to allow the clubs that you mentioned to be able to participate in the Isthmian League under-23s or the under-23 competitions. And I don't know, I'm speaking off the top of my head, but it's certainly something I can take up with the other leagues to see if we can go down that route of making it easier for them. Because it's something that hadn't crossed my mind until you mentioned it, but it's important, yeah. Especially if they've got a club already, a team already of under-23s. The last thing, we're here to try and make people play football as much as possible. The last thing I want is to stop anybody playing football. So if we can get around that in any way, shape or form, then we will.
So for people that sort of were watching this and won't sort of understand sort of football chairmanship and stuff like that, and league chairmanship, I mean, what is the day-to-day diary of the Southern League chairman, compared to what he was doing before as the vice chairman? So I mean, is it a case of, some people will say, oh, he's getting paid thousands of pounds for doing it, etc., and you'll get all that sort of stuff, and so I mean, as this sort of Southern League chairman, have you got your own sort of business, your own job as well that you're doing as well as the chairmanship? Is it the chairmanship something that you're doing now as like a full-time job that you're doing?
I mean, yeah, I regard the chairmanship. As you know, I've been vice chairman for the last 6 years, and we were in a rather unique situation in as much as the league has a position on the FA Council. Invariably, the person who is the FA Council member tends to be the chairman. In our situation, that wasn't possible because Terry, when he took over the chairmanship, was over 70 years of age. And you cannot join the FA Council if you're over 70 for the first time. If you're already on there, you can go up to 75. But your first time on the FA Council, you have to be under 70. So therefore, I took the position on the FA Council. I'm 58 now. Might look a lot older, but I'm 58 now. So I've been on the council for the last 5 years. And that takes up an awful lot of time. To put things into context, taking over as chairman will make a difference. I think it's important that everybody knows the whole board, including myself and the vice chairman, and all the directors, are all volunteers. There are no salaries. We get expenses for going to the meetings, and that's it. There are no salaries, no, what's the word I'm looking for? Honorariums or anything like that that's done. We have the staff in the office who are employees. We employ a company secretary as accountant, Alan Foote, and everybody else is a volunteer. So no, it's not money at all, but it is a full-time job now. I speak to the office now every day, where I didn't as vice chairman, but Terry did, obviously. So I will take over that. So I'll be in contact with the office every day. I will visit the office more regularly. I speak to clubs regularly, 7 days a week. And I also sit on the FA Council, which is the Alliance Committee. I'm also on something called the Leagues Committee, which is very similar to the Alliance, but it looks after Step 5 and below. And I also sit on the National Game Cup Competitions Committee, which is the trophy and the Vase and the Sunday Cup. So we have various meetings throughout the year, and that is fascinating. I love it. I enjoy it. Obviously, everything's been done roughly by Zoom over the last couple of years, but we're now slowly getting back into the routine of attending Wembley for meetings, which is great. But it is more or less a full-time job. I would say not so much work 9 to 5 full-time, but over the 7-day period, you're probably at least 37 hours, at least 40 hours a week. So it probably is a full-time job. But listen, for people like us, it's not work, is it? It's enjoyment. That's the
true.
truth. It's not work, and I don't see it as work. I'm fortunate that I was able to retire at 55 from my full-time employment, and my wife was as well. So we're in a good situation and a fortunate situation where I've got the time to be able to devote to it now. And I get tremendous support at home. And, I can't wait, to be quite frank. The meetings can't come quick enough. But yeah, in constant contact with the league office and basically sorting out any problems that the clubs might have. And just ensuring that the staff are looked after, any other business that has to be run. It's just ensuring that things move smoothly, swiftly, and that things are in place at the correct times, But yes, and I get great support from the rest of the board, obviously. And Dave Martin as a vice chairman. We had a good meeting on Tuesday, and I want Dave to be as involved as myself. As far as I'm concerned, we run the league, not me. So I want Dave to feel as part of this as myself, really. And the rest of the board obviously are involved in different tasks. I set up different committees within the league structure, and various directors sit on different aspects within that. But they all contribute, in fairness, and they all give their time freely and with goodwill. That's the reality. But the other important thing is they're all involved with clubs. Everybody that sits on the board has either been in the past, like myself, or are currently running clubs at this level. So the important thing is they understand the problems, the issues that every club faces. I will say, as a board, I would love us to be more encompassing and diverse and have a mixture of clubs from all 4 divisions. Sometimes that's very difficult, but it's something I feel is essential. And for the first time this season, we have directors from every division on board. Some through fortune and relegation and promotion and whatever. But, for me going forward, I'd like personally to change the articles of the company to ensure that every division has representation. That's my own personal opinion. And that's something I'll be bringing up with the board as we go through this season. But, we've been fortunate enough to have 2 ladies sitting on the board in the last 10 years. Judy Moore was at Swindon Supermarine, and Pippa Daniels, who's at Poole, who's just left. And both of them were probably some of the best directors we've had on board, made massive contributions. And the work that Pippa did last year in the media and everything else was second to none. She put masses of effort into it. And I know that the time is involved, and I'm very grateful to her. I only wish she would have stayed, but unfortunately the time was right for her to step down. And but listen, we want to be far more encompassing. Let's be quite frank. You look at the teams that play in our division, and they're diverse throughout the leagues. The board isn't. The board isn't diverse, and we need to get people from different communities onto the board. Now, the important thing is that those people feel that they can put their name forward, and they will be made welcome and made part of that. And that's my job. So a lot of this is me getting to clubs that I don't know, because there are clubs I don't know well. And a lot of the first year is me getting to clubs and persuading these people at the clubs, look, we need you on board. We need your help. We need all different parts of the community to be involved. And that's one of the biggest things that's got to happen in the next 12 months for me. So we'll see where we go. Where I was fortunate, what happened this year, Dave, is that we had 3 vacancies on the board. We didn't have one application. But what was nice was on the weekend, 3 or 4 people came up to myself or other members of the board and said, look, I've had to think about it and perhaps I would have put myself forward. So that was a good thing. And there were lots of different age groups in that, which was another positive, because invariably you don't have the time to do this work until you're retired. It's very difficult to hold down a full-time job and do all this work as well, especially if you've got a family, etc. So to get younger people on board would be fantastic. And but there was some encouraging signs last weekend. So let's hope we're moving in the right direction. Yeah.
I mean, with that though, I mean, you mentioned that about the 3 positions, and you know my stance on that already. We've spoken numerous occasions about it.
Indeed.
But I mean, is there a rule up there though that you would like to change with that around how people can sort of apply to get onto the board? Or do you feel it's necessary to have that?
Yeah, I think that there is scope for it. Yeah, and I think the rules will inevitably change, Dave. I think they have to. At this moment in time, you have to be a director of a club, and that is an executive director of a club or the club secretary, and you are eligible then to stand for the board. But the way the world is, more and more independent people are being recruited onto boards to give different perspectives. They have to come with their own skill set that will improve the skill set on the board. But there are people outside of our clubs who I think could bring skills and assets that we won't have. So I think over the next, and it's not going to happen overnight, but I think, again, it's a want for me. And I'm telling you all these things as if everything, it makes it sound as if everything in the league is wrong. And that's not what I'm saying. I just think we have to evolve, and our rules have to evolve. Our articles of association have to evolve. And I think we have to broaden our horizons in whoever sits on the board. And that may mean going outside of the natural selection of club directors or secretaries or even members of clubs. You know, it may be people that are genuinely independent and can give us, for want of a better word, a more independent perspective on things rather than from a club hat. And that sometimes can be useful. But the articles would have to be changed to allow that. But that's something we can do at next season's AGM.
But I mean, yourself though, with yourself though, everything's moving on nicely. You're happy with everything that's, you know, where we are today?
Reasonably happy, yes, reasonably. I think there's work to do. And I don't think that would have been any different if Terry carried on. Terry would have had work to do as well, I'm sure. But it's like everything else. We all have slightly different opinions, slightly different perspectives. So the main thing for me as we go forward over the next 3 months, say the first 3 months, we talk about 100 days so the first 100 days, I'm looking at access to the league for the clubs and for anybody else, I suppose, and increasing the things we do on social media for the fans, for the clubs, and the content that we put out, which is vastly superior than we've ever done before, but we can improve it. And also making the situation that the new clubs particularly are welcome. So we've got meetings coming up for secretaries and officials of the clubs that's only just come into the league, whether they've come up, down, or moved sideways. They're all important to us because we play with one particular match ball, another league will play with a different match ball. So it's important that all these clubs get all the information they need. So my first priority over the next 3 months is to put everything in place so that we can start this season and the clubs feel they've had the right preparation to do so. Once the season started and we are playing football, I know it sounds crazy, but I think that then is the time for us to look at the way the league is structured and everything else. But the first 3 months is just to make sure that everything moves smoothly and we start the season as we should, with a full quota of 84 clubs, and they have all the equipment and everything necessary to start. Because there is a question mark over things like that because of the problem with the shipping containers in China, in getting the match balls through MITRE and everything else. So we've got some question marks over equipment that we need because of demand and supply in the world at the moment. But I think everybody's in the same boat. So we're hopeful that those things can materialize over the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
I suppose to finish you on the fun side of things. I mean, did the shield itself, the nice lovely shield, did they end up getting themselves a nice removal van to take it home?
Yes, no, they didn't. In fairness, we took it back to the league office. That's the truth. We took it back to the league office. The shield is, as you can imagine, is massive. And I can tell you now, 3 or 4 years ago, I took it down, or perhaps more than that. I took it down to Salisbury to present. I had a 7-seater SUV, and it just about got in with all the doors, all the seats down. So, and as you know, as the winners grow, another ring comes on it, and it gets even bigger. So what we've done now is created a wooden base, and we put the winners around there. But eventually that will fill up. So I think we have to think long and hard about what we do with the shield. It's currently at the moment presented to the winners of the championship match between the 2 Premier Division winners. But I think probably we have to think long and hard about what we do with the shield, because it's become, it's such a big, heavy item to move. It's very difficult, but it's extremely important to us in our history. So, and certain things have been mentioned that perhaps we should put it in the National Football Museum in Preston, perhaps, and award cups for the championship match. That's an idea we're thinking of. But all those things we'll have to think of in the next coming years. But no, in fairness to Banbury, they didn't take it back. We took it back to the league office because it's just so big. It's the only solution, really.
Now, see, with his £500 win on that night, I thought you might have got, as I said on the night, I thought you might have yourself an Uber to get it home.
There was nothing else they could win, mate, was there? They won the lot. They took everything home.
Just took everything home, yeah.
Yeah.
Straight flush. Yeah.
Absolutely. You should have done the lottery the same night. That's all I can say.
But listen, Anthony, again, for me, it's so great to see you looking so well as well. It's fantastic, and for me, a massive thank you, and I've thanked you a few times this week, but a massive thank you for last Saturday. It was an amazing evening.
Oh, thank you. You did a fabulous job.
And massive congratulations to yourself as well, and of course to Dave as well. And a massive thank you for Terry for what he's done for the league as well in his reign as the chairman as well. But hopefully we'll speak again.
We will. Yes, I'm here. Whenever you want me, my friend, I'm here.
But a massive thank you for today. We'll let you get back to your family. But for everybody else, we'll be back with My Life in Football as well. We've got a few more interviews this week that we're going to be recording with me and Steve Whitney. And of course, we'll be back with a Southern League preview. And also as well, we're hoping that we're going to have a new show this season as well, a physio show as well. So that stay tuned for that one. That one's going to be very, very interesting as we move forward with that idea. But a massive thank you to Anthony and of course to the Southern League as well. And the two of us will see you soon. Good night.
Yeah, thank you. Good night.